Ever look at a rack of clothes and wonder, like, how do they get all these colors so vibrant?
Yeah.
Well, we're diving into the surprisingly deep world of textile dyeing today.
Right.
You send over a bunch of stuff from RoleCatcher, so you're clearly invested in this.
Definitely. It's fascinating stuff.
Yes, so much more to it than just, dipping fabric in a bucket of dye,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. It's chemistry, it's precision. There's even an element of artistry to it.
Oh, okay, I like that, the artistry.
Mm.
So, all right, let's say I land a job as a textile dyer. Day one. What am I walking into?
Get ready for a symphony of sounds. You walk into a textile production facility, it's buzzing. Giant machines are humming. Vats of dye are mixing. Sometimes the smells are pleasant, sometimes. Well,
Not so much.
yeah.
So what am I doing in all this?
You're like a conductor, but instead of an orchestra, you're leading this dance of chemicals. You're meticulously measuring and mixing dyes. Gotta follow the formulas. Even a tiny miscalculation could mean.
Disaster.
You said it. You could end up with flamingo pink instead of fire engine red. You're also running those massive dye machines, making sure the fabric, that it goes for a perfect swim in that color bath.
It's really amazing when you think about it, how much precision goes into something we just takes for granted. I've always been kind of fascinated by color, like mixing paints, trying to capture a sunset just right. Is there space for that in textile dyeing, or is it pretty much like sticking to the formula?
No, that's where the artistry comes in. While consistency is key, there's actually a surprising amount of room for innovation. Especially as you get more experience, senior dyers, they get to experiment with new color recipes. They're blending shades, trying to hit a specific hue or effect. Like master chefs of the textile world.
Wow, never would have guessed. So you
Yeah.
start with the fundamentals and then you get into this creative problem solving. How do you even break into this field, though? Can you just walk in off the street with a love of color? Or
Well, it's not quite that simple. I mean, a love of color is a great start. But landing your dream job usually starts with an apprenticeship. That's where you learn the ropes, from the seasoned pros, starting with the basics like mixing solutions. Then you work your way up to operating the more complex stuff.
so really hands-on from the ground up. What does that progression look like then from apprentice to, say, running the whole show?
It's kind of like leveling up in a video game. You start as an apprentice, you're proving yourself, soaking up all the knowledge, and once you've got the basics down, you might become a junior dyer, taking on more responsibility and maybe even starting to develop your own color formulas.
That's cool. So from there, you work your way up to becoming a master dyer. What does it take to reach that level?
It takes experience, of course, and deep knowledge, but also this real thirst for innovation to reach those upper levels. Senior dyers, they often oversee entire dyeing operations, managing teams, and they even work directly with designers, bringing those color visions to life.
Oh, wow. So you're not just mixing dyes, you're leading a team, shaping the aesthetic of whole clothing lines. That's a lot of pressure.
Mm.
Is there even time to think about, like, staying ahead of the curve? Are there new techniques popping up in textile dyeing all the time?
All the time. The industry is constantly evolving. Sustainability, for example, is huge right now. Remember those RoleCatcher resources you sent over?
Yeah.
They mention this growing need for dyers who get the eco-friendly practices.
Right, right. They had a whole section on eco-conscious dyeing. It talked about natural dyes and, like, low-impact processes. What does that even mean?
Basically, instead of synthetic dyes, which can be kind of rough on the environment, some companies are turning to natural options, like dyes that come from plants, insects, minerals even.
Like using beetroot to get that perfect red.
Exactly. And these natural dyes, they often have unique properties and create these incredibly rich colors. You just can't get the same effect with synthetics. And it's not just about the dyes either. Low-impact dyeing means using less water, less energy, and figuring out safer ways to deal with waste products.
It's really interesting how much goes into making textile dyeing more sustainable. I'm guessing those RoleCatcher resources probably talk about the skills you need for these newer approaches.
Yeah, definitely. They stress how important it is to stay updated on industry trends. They even suggest joining professional organizations like AATCC. Have you heard of it?
AATCC? What's that stand for?
The American Association of Textile Chemists and Colorists. It's a good resource for networking, professional development, and just staying in the loop about all the advancements in dyeing tech.
Sounds like you never stop learning in this field.
That's part of what makes it so rewarding. There's always something new. A new challenge, a new color to master, a new technique to wrap your head around.
Speaking of rewards, what about everyone's favorite topic, salary? What's the earning potential like for textile dyers? I imagine it depends on experience, location, all that.
You're right, it does vary. But generally speaking, textile dyeing is a field that offers a competitive salary. Especially as you gain experience and take on more responsibility, RoleCatcher actually gives salary ranges based on location and seniority, which is super helpful for anyone just starting out.
That is good to know. It's encouraging to hear that there's real potential for growth in this field. So we've covered the day-to-day, the career path, the importance of staying current, and even the earning potential. Anything we've missed? Any other must-knows for someone considering this as a career?
One thing to keep in mind is that textile dyeing can be physically demanding. You're on your feet a lot, often working with heavy machinery, and sometimes in a pretty hot and humid environment.
Right. It's not all color palettes and brainstorming sessions.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
takes stamina, and you've got to be willing to get your hands dirty. But for people who have that passion for color, who get a thrill out of precision, and who aren't afraid of a little hard work, textile dyeing can be an incredibly fulfilling career.
It does sound really satisfying. See your vision realized on fabric.
Yeah.
Taking something ordinary and turning it into something beautiful.
Absolutely. It's like a magic trick in a way.
Yeah.
Transforming raw materials into something vibrant and unique.
Yeah. It really is like magic when you put it that way. Seeing your vision come to life like that on fabric, taking something ordinary and making it beautiful. That's got to be so rewarding.
It really is. And it's not even just about that final product. It's the whole process, the problem solving, always experimenting. Each dye reacts a little differently, depends on the fabric, the water, even the temperature.
Wow. So many factors.
Keeps you on your toes, that's for sure.
You've definitely given me a new appreciation for every colorful t-shirt. I used to think of textile dyeing as this huge industrial thing, but there's so much artistry to it, so much skill.
Oh, for sure. It's like this blend of ancient craft and modern technology. And speaking of technology, I was looking back at those RoleCatcher resources, and there was this one trend they highlighted, really jumped out at me. The demand for textile dyers who understand 3D printing on fabrics.
Wait, hold on. 3D printing on fabric, that's a thing.
Oh yeah, it's changing the game, totally. Imagine printing these complex patterns directly onto fabric, creating textures and designs that were basically impossible before.
Wow.
It needs a whole new level of expertise, color management, digital design. It's really fascinating.
Mind-blowing. So textile dyeing is not just this one static thing. There's constant growth, new innovations. You can even bring in cutting-edge technology like that.
Exactly. If you're looking for a field that's creatively stimulating but also always evolving, this is it.
This deep dive has been amazing.
Yeah.
You went from the factory floor to like the future of textile technology, uncovering this whole world of color and precision and just endless possibilities.
It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed talking about this stuff.
To our listener, we hope this deep dive has inspired you to see the world a little differently and, hey, maybe even add a little splash of color to your own career path. This is The Deep Dive. Signing off until our next adventure in knowledge exploration.